When we decided to leave the city life behind to live amongst nature in an off-grid van, we had no idea what kind of journey was ahead of us. But now, almost 2 years later, we're still glad we took that leap of faith. And even after losing the last van in the floods, we took it as an opportunity to start fresh and to reflect on the shortcomings of the last setup to create something even better. So in this video, we'd like to share with you our new and improved living space. Hey everyone, welcome back to our channel. We've been living in this beautiful off-grid caravan for almost a year now, so I thought it was time we give you a tour. And we'll show you exactly what it's like living in an off-grid caravan. Spoiler alert, it's not too different from living in a normal home. So come on in. Welcome to our humble abode. We'll start our tour off in the bedroom. Can you believe we have a queen-sized bed in here? It is amazing. And it is actually also a gas lift storage bed. So there is so much storage space under here, which is so handy. And as you can see here, we have our diesel heater, which is incredible on the cold winter nights. And behind me here, you'll see we've got our wardrobes and we've got a mirror each, which is amazing. Most of our city wardrobe has fit in the wardrobes, but we've got a little bit excess here.
That wasn't me.
And you'll notice that we have a skylight here, which is amazing to let in some extra light during the day, or at night we can lay there and watch the stars. We can also watch the TV in bed, but we tend to mostly be entertained by our three little Energizer bunnies. And then behind our TV we have the Starlink, which has been an absolute game changer for my work. It is really reliable, really fast. It is a little bit expensive, but for me it is worth every cent. Next up, I'll take you for a tour of our kitchen. So we've got most of the normal appliances like a microwave, NutriBullet and toaster. And we have stacks of storage space in this kitchen, up here, down here, and all of this is full of food. Here's an example.
No such thing as moving off grid without being at least a little bit of a prepper.
A lot of bit of a prepper.
That was me, I put all that there.
Well, talking about food prepping, we've got these cupboards back here also full of food, such as rice, quinoa, pasta, oats, and most importantly, dog bickies.
Yum yum.
So there's plenty of storage in this kitchen, and one of my most favourite pieces is this fridge. It's the Bushman 190 litre 12 volt fridge, and I love being able to just have a normal sized fridge. It is amazing compared to the last ones we had, and as you can see it's pretty full.
We've just been grocery shopping.
We have, and I've done a little bit of baking in our lovely oven that we've got here. We've got a full stove, grill and oven. And so a lot of people wonder how I cook in a caravan, and just like everybody else, I have an oven. Most people think I cook outside, but no, I cook in here and it's great. And so we also have a kettle that you heat on the stove, which is great because the normal kettles do use quite a bit of power, so we opted for this instead. And you might remember the last tap we had in our last caravan, which was the pump tap. Well, we officially have normal running water, which is incredible. So down here we have the pump.
So this is the what do you think, Coco? That's the 12 volt pump. I personally would opt to find a caravan that does not have this inside the living space, because if it was to fail, there's going to be water everywhere. So slight downside, but these little shore flow pumps, they're incredible. Yes, they are, Coco. And there's the classic pump tap. We still have that there in case the 12 volt pump fails.
And so you might be wondering where the water comes from, considering we're off-grid. We've got 200 litres of water storage underneath the Caravan, which Alex fills up once a week. So he can show you that when he's doing the outside tour later. Next up, I'll give you a tour of our lounge room. So we've got Alex's side of the sofa, my side of the sofa, and this is where I do all of my work and where Alex edits all of these lovely videos. And this is our table, which can actually fold away and create heaps of extra space, which is amazing. And we've got some storage under the sofas. And then we've got another skylight, which makes it really nice and airy. And you might be wondering what this is. We actually have an air conditioner in this Caravan, which has been a lifesaver on the really hot summer days. And with our amazing solar system, which is in here, it's all powered by the sun. So I'll let Alex take you through the solar system because he designed it himself.
Alright, so here is our fully off-grid solar system. And for anybody new to solar systems, I'll give a really basic rundown of how it all works for anyone else looking to design something similar, because Victron is a brand that has a great reputation, and we found that we literally haven't had a single issue since installing the system. We haven't really had to use the generator even once, so it's really cool. We can use our toaster, we've got an air conditioner here. This system is just so convenient for living off grid and makes the place feel like home. So really basic summary, which we'll make more in-depth videos later on about. It all starts with the solar panels on the roof, and before that power goes into the batteries that are underneath this lounge, it goes through a charge controller, keeps the batteries healthy, optimizes the power. So we've got the power going from the solar panels through the charge controller into the batteries, and that already in itself allows us to use all of the down lights in here. It powers the 12-volt fridge, ignition on the stove. Our diesel heater runs off 12 volt. So already just those basic components allow us to use all the 12 volt stuff, but to use all of the normal household appliances, we need an inverter. So the power goes from the batteries to the inverter out to the 240 volt outlets. Last bit of the puzzle really is there's the shunt there, so that counts how much power has gone in and gone out. And the cherry on top, the last little thing here that makes it really convenient for us to see all of the most important information at our fingertips is the Servo GX, which is the little computer that takes information from all of these devices and puts it onto this screen. And at our fingertips we can see our capacity of the battery, we can see how much the solar is producing and how much we're using at any given moment. And as a bonus, we can also see how much water we've got in here, because I put one of these tank sensors in the water tank. So it takes the guesswork out of knowing how many showers we've got left before we need to refill.
And finally, I'll give you a tour of our bathroom. So as you can see here, we actually have a toilet inside, which I don't know if you remember from our last Caravan tour, we used to have one outside, which made things a bit interesting. And we also have a shower in here. So it's really lovely to be able to shower indoors, especially on those rainy days and with all the mosquitoes around. And we've actually got a water heater, which you just flick this switch here. This is for the electric version, and we can also choose to heat our shower water with gas as well, depending on how our solar's going and what's the best option for the day. And in here, we also have a washing machine. We don't tend to use it because it uses a lot of water, and it is quite a small washing machine, so it's a small load, but it is really usable if you wanted to use it. But we have an alternative option at the shed over here, so we opt for that one instead. Now let's go outside for Alex to give you a tour out there.
All right. Let's take a tour of the outside area, and the first thing and most exciting thing you can see behind us, this is our newest addition, and it is the Starlink satellite dish. It's been an absolute game changer for us having off-grid internet. We can now upload our YouTube videos for you guys at ease. And for anybody else thinking about getting Starlink, a quick tip is that in Australia, it's going to face the southern hemisphere, and so you'll need a little bit of a clearing. Something like this is what's going to allow the dish to connect to the satellites. If there's too many trees, it does struggle. All right, let's continue the tour to the front of the caravan over here. So a really handy feature to look for when buying a new caravan is storage in the front compartment. Let me show you why. For such a small living space, any kind of storage is a plus, and this is massive. So if we take a look on this side here, we've got a massive garden hose. Here's the 10-litre tank for our diesel heater. We've got accessories for towing the caravan, a funnel over there, brackets to hold all of the tools for leveling the caravan. There's another funnel here. This is our laundry section with collapsible laundry tubs, very handy. And last but not least, we've got a 240 volt outlet there that runs from the inverter, and we can actually charge our power tools outside without needing to make a mess inside when we're building projects outside. And this part over here is also a game changer compared to our last caravan, because if anyone's seen our last caravan or old school caravans in general, the gas tanks are on the front where they're getting hit by pebbles while you're driving. They're out in full sun all day long, which to me was pretty concerning. So within this section here, we have our two 8.7 kilogram, I think they are, gas tanks. And a really good feature as well to look for is this little tap over here, where if you're using the gas to heat up the shower or you're right in the middle of cooking a meal, if this tank runs out, all you do is turn this little tap to the other tank and you're ready to go.
And another great thing are these little tags that say full, empty and in use, that you just rip off and change around.
If you can open the latch and open up the gas tank without having to take the whole lid off, that's cool too. All right, and so here is our outdoor hangout area. As you can see, it's quite spacious. It's almost the size of a normal backyard, which is great. And for anyone who's got little munchkins like these, I'll show you the little fence that we put together. It's very simple, not expensive at all. We just used project mesh and star pickets. So we put that together and we tied it on with rope, which seems funny, but we used to use wire and we had to cut it every time we moved. So by using rope, we can just untie the knots and be ready to move at short notice. So these panels over here are from puppy playpens, and they're pretty handy as well because they come together like a puzzle, and we use the gates from them to easily let the dogs out. And something that we've kept from our last setup is this all-weather floor. So it's a little bit like a sail that you use as a shade cloth, but it's a material made specifically to be used on the floor, which is really nice when we step out of the caravan and it's been raining. It helps to keep the moisture down, and to add even more moisture protection, we'll put these foam puzzle mats underneath so that it creates some space between the ground and this all-weather flooring.
And it's nice and soft and squishy to step on.
It's nice, soft and squishy to step on. It's lovely. And these pegs are really cool as well because as you can see when you get your drill, they're essentially a big screw. So when you get your drill or driver, instead of having to hammer them in, you just drill them in and drill them out, and they're very easy to use. All right, I think next up is something you can probably already see in the background, and it's our little garden patch. Let's take a look at that. So funny enough, we didn't design it this way, but now it looks like a farm stall. And we're very excited to do gardening when we finally move back home and to have a proper sized garden. And I guess this is just something that we've been doing to begin learning about gardening, and it's been really fun. So we take a tour of everything here. We've got coriander. Sorry to all the coriander haters out there. We've got some spinach growing here and some kale. And we've also got parsley and basil. And yeah, we're looking forward to expanding our garden when we have a bigger space. And I'm sure that's gonna create inspiration for many future videos to come as we learn the ropes of growing our own food. And over here is our little outside hangout area, which, as you can see, Coco loves the chairs.
One of her favourite spots. Hey Coco, she likes to watch the view.
Yeah. And what is an off-grid setup without a milk crate coffee table? Cool. So the last thing to cover in this section is, well, you can see how the wires from the solar panels enter the inside space to that cool cupboard that we showed you guys. And the last thing to check out here is this awning. It rolls out just like this. And of course it's a lot bigger than that, but most of the time we just roll it out a little bit for some shade, because when it gets windy, even if you use the anti-flap kits and whatnot that you can use to stabilize these, we still don't feel quite comfortable leaving it open when we leave and we know it's going to be windy. So a little bit of shade, and it is very handy compared to, for example, having a gazebo that you set up separately. And so this is the rest of our backyard here, and one of our newest additions behind me is our shipping container. We've started calling him Shippy just because we love having a new storage solution for all of our tools to keep them out of the elements. And we have made a separate video about buying a shipping container and all that we learned in the process, but let's take a quick tour inside anyway. So this is a 20-foot shipping container, and we'll give you a quick tour of, as an example of what you can fit inside one of these. Since oiling the hinges, it opens really nicely. All right, come on in. This is our first ever very own shed. Rufus and Coco love it. And we've got all of our toolboxes here, camping gear, gardening gear, lawn mowers, a workspace here, and yeah, it's a really cool space.
Even some workout gear.
Yeah, it's a small space once again compared to some people's sheds, but for us it's massive. All right, let's continue the tour and I'll show you around the other side of the caravan. Ooh, before we go there, a feature I would never live without after having one is having a tap.
Very handy to wash muddy feet, especially from dog feet.
We can wash muddy dogs in it. So we'll start from here. This is our water heater. Actually, we can have a look at what's inside one of these things. All right, so this is one of the 240 volt and gas operated suburban water heaters. Most caravans come with something like this if they've got a shower inside. And just as a super quick summary of how one of these things works for, once again, anyone new to caravanning, is inside it's got a 20-litre tank. So it's not one of those instant gas water systems. It takes some time to heat up the 20 litres of water before you can have showers. And what I really like about that is that we can heat our water during the day from the solar power so that we can have hot water in the tank ready to go for when we need to have a shower at night. However, on those days where there isn't much sunlight available, on those overcast days, this is actually the gas element. So there's the option to heat the water by gas or by power, and this is the gas section here. It shoots out a pretty big flame inside the tank there, and the electric element is here as well. So really handy bit of gear right there. All right, and just another fun fact about these systems, something that you shouldn't forget to do every 6 months or so, is there's a sacrificial anode in there that needs to be changed. It rusts away in order for the system to not rust away, basically. And one mistake I made when changing it last time is I didn't release the pressure valve, and I was absolutely covered from head to toe in this white rubbish that was in there from somebody not changing it for years probably. So this little thing here. Don't forget that needs to be changed every 6 months if you live in this full time. All right, so on to the next interesting thing to show you how this caravan works. We've got this little door here, and so the toilet that we showed you previously is just on the other side of this wall, and this is what's underneath it. It's a little cassette holding tank, and this will need to be emptied. So if you're getting a caravan with a toilet in it, watch out, because this is something you're going to need to do once a week. And so the way it works is we just add some eco-friendly chemicals, same ones as what you'd use in any kind of portaloo that you see at music festivals and whatnot. And that's a mini version of that essentially. And when it comes time to empty it, it looks like a little suitcase, and you walk along and find a responsible place to deposit the waste.
And something I forgot to mention is that the toilet inside, you can actually press a button to actually flush water down the toilet like a normal toilet. Obviously less water, but it's amazing.
It's very handy overall. So these vents here are necessary for all fridges. They are a bit of a legacy from the last gas fridge that we had. But on the other side, if we open this, that is the back of our Bushman fridge. So a handy thing that we have done here is all of the water that condenses inside the fridge, it runs through this hose, but instead of going into this tank where it can spill over and get everything wet, I've connected it to the existing drainage hose. So any water that comes out of the fridge runs through here and out the bottom. And so the last thing to show you, fun facts about how a caravan works. Over here we have our 2 water tanks, so that's 1 and 2, and they're joined together by this U-shaped hose. So there'll be a video on how we did that coming up in the near future, but it's essentially very simple. For anyone who's got a caravan with 2 water tanks and you want to make it 1 water tank, we just join them with some piping and some elbow joints, and it works really well. So as mentioned, we have 2 water tanks, and hence we have these 2 inlets to fill them up. And this is a bit of a funny process at the moment. We fill these up with jerry cans, but you know, we're still getting there, still figuring out this whole off-grid thing. And so another thing is this power inlet here. Actually, we haven't had a look at that yet. This is how we charge our batteries. So if we're running out of power, it's been overcast for a while, what we do is we get the generator started, and we connect the generator through this port here, and then it runs to the inverter, charges the batteries, powers the rest of the caravan. That's pretty handy as well. This is how our Starlink makes its way inside the caravan. It's got a little conduit box there. Yeah.
Well, that brings us to the end of the tour. Thanks for joining us. If you have any questions, let us know in the comments below, and we'll see you next time.